reminder, maybe it is already familiar to most of you what TMview does, but for those that are not familiar with TMview, well, basically what TMview is, it is an online tool that is providing, let's go start again for TMview. The TMview is a tool that is available online, so available to any internet user that would like to consult trademarks from the different participating offices. Once we go to the demo, you will see that it's available in a harmonized and multilingual layout. So you can actually change to your own language in order to use the tool and search and make the user experience easier for you. Currently, TMview includes almost 60 million trademarks, and we have 74 participating offices from all around the world. So it is also already a very popular tool, widely used by participating offices. It is available 24/7, all year round. Of course, there are moments that it's maintained, but that is a minimum of that time. And basically, you will be able to use it whenever you need. As to the data that we have incorporated from the different participating offices, we also make sure that it's updated as frequently as possible. In most cases, it's updated on a daily basis by the participating offices. We do have some cases where it is updated on a weekly basis, but this always relates to what is allowed by the participating office, either to technical constraints or legal constraints. But we strive to have a daily update from the participating offices. So what can you actually use TMview for? Well, with this daily update, of course, you get easy access and first-hand access to information directly from the registers of the participating offices. In this case, about trademarks. And this is what we are going to try to demonstrate afterwards in the demo, you can use TMview to clear your trademark idea. So before you actually file in an office, you can check, at least get an idea what is already registered or applied for in that office where you would also like to file an application for a trademark. Subsequently, and I will also try to demonstrate this with TMview, you can use it once you have a filing to monitor for other new filings, new applications of trademarks that are identical or similar to your existing application or registration. So you can use it to monitor that nobody infringes your trademark. Then also, as regard the participating offices, there's a benefit in relation to using it as a tool, for instance, to verify priority claims. And I will also shortly demonstrate that as the final part of my live demo. And as Yvonne already pointed out, this is a tool that is available free of charge. And obviously, these benefits, and together with harmonizing the layout, grouping so many offices, that makes it a tool that will save you time and, of course, money if you use it correctly. So as one of the points I was mentioning before, we have 74 implementations, so 74 offices participating worldwide. We have also ongoing offices or projects to integrate civil offices around the world. Perhaps the most interesting or one of the big offices missing so far, where work is progressing currently, is of course China, but we also are working with several other offices so we can, let's say, strive to cover the whole world, hopefully sooner than later. We are on the homepage. If you didn't see it before, here we have in the top right-hand corner, we have the possibility to change the user interface to different languages. And as I mentioned, we try to cover at least one working language from all the participating offices. So in order to make it as easy as possible for you to use when you want to use the tool. In this case, I will leave it in English. And as we just saw before, I managed to break the tool when I changed to Cartuli. So I will not try to do that again now. Then I moved on here to the basic search field. This is where we can type in our trademark idea. Again, I would like now to try to clear for a filing of George. So before we actually file this application for George in SAC-Patentii, let's see if there's something similar already registered or applied for in SAC-Patentii. So we type in the trademark name, but then we have to go on to selecting the territory. So we have to get criterion about Georgia. And we can do that two ways. First of all, we can go here to basic search and add a criteria, that would add other criteria below our criteria for the trademark name. That's one way to do it, by clicking this checkbox, and it will maintain in order to easy access. Next time you go in to do a search, then you will have this criterion available straight away. Another way is to use the advanced search, which is up here. So we can show the advanced options, which will open up underneath the basic search all the other criteria available. And here we have the one with territories. So we select Georgia, and now we can see on the other side here that we have 2 offices. And this precisely answers the question before, if we're also including international registrations from EUIPO. Because yes, of course, Sakpatent is providing the national registrations, whereas EUIPO is providing the international registrations designating Georgia. So we cover them both. And we will leave them both because obviously we want to have a full picture that we are not infringing rights applied for through EUIPO. So let's launch the search. We could also apply already several other criteria if we know what we would like to apply for. But I prefer to use filters that I will demonstrate now after launching the search, because as you will see, they are a lot more dynamic, and it will also give you information as to how many trademarks will be left in your search once you apply a different criteria or filter, so to speak. So now we have launched our search that is returning in this list of results below 606 trademarks. Our criteria for the search are the following. We got Georgia and EUIPO as offices for the territory of Georgia for the trademark name George. Now, if we have an idea about filing a trademark for George, it might be a bit too much to go through 606 trademarks. So we should try to limit our search results a bit. And as you can see in the list of results, we got here trademarks in the status ended. So these are trademarks which no longer have any legal effect, which have been canceled, or which maybe have been withdrawn, or in another way have been, let's say, canceled by the office or by the user itself. So we should try to leave those out as well. And we should also leave those out which have expired and have not been renewed. And for that purpose, we can go to the filter over here to the left about trademark status. And here we have, as we can see, filed and registered, which are really the 2 status that we would be interested in having in our list of results, as those are the ones with a legal effect currently in the territory of Georgia. We can see if I apply the status filed first, our list of results will then be limited to 104. So let's try to do that. The list of results is refreshed and we can see 104 results, now only in the status filed. Secondly, we apply the status registered and we will add the other 246 trademarks to our list of results. So now we have only the trademarks which are filed and registered with the name George as part of the trademark name. Still, 350 trademarks in this list of results is quite a lot to check. So we should go even further and try to limit this list of results. A good criterion to take into account would probably be the goods and services that we plan to file and would like to protect with our trademark application. For instance, we could imagine that we want to file application for George in class 9. Therefore, we should use this filter to see if there are any trademarks among those registered and filed here in the list of results, which are also in class 9. And we can see for this filter that we will limit now our list of results to only 21 trademarks if we apply this class 9. So now we have trademarks which are at least filed or registered in class 9. Still, we could try to limit our list of results a bit further because still 21 trademarks is quite a lot to grasp and get an overview of. So the next criteria we could imagine is that we know that our trademark application is not only going to be for George as the verbal element, but we are also going to include a figurative element. So right now you can see here, if I move to the bottom here, we can see here a column called trademark type. Once you launch the search, it is normally not included, but you can add edit columns to the list of result through this edit columns button, which is available just above the list of result. So here we have the trademark type, and we can add it. As you can see in the background, it is then added out here on the right. And what I would like to do now is to limit this list of result only to those that are actually combined, meaning that we have a verbal element, but also a figurative element as this first case, and not those which are purely verbal, indicating as a trademark type word. So if we go back to our filter on the left, we can scroll down to the trademark type and see that we have combined, which will limit our list of result to 8 trademarks. Now it's becoming a bit easier, but still I would like to go a little bit further. We can apply other criteria. For instance, we can imagine that we know that our trademark, besides the verbal element George, besides it's going to be containing a figurative element, we also know it's going to contain a rectangle, for instance, as part of our trademark. So we can have a look and use Vienna codes to limit the search even further. Right now, the Vienna codes are not displayed, but we have, again, through the edit columns, we can add it to our list of results, selecting the correct checkbox. And then if I scroll down again and out to the right, you will see Vienna codes applied. Now, in order to limit the search again, we go back out to our filters, to the Vienna codes, and then we look for a Vienna code that could take into account something like squares or rectangles. Well, we have here the quadrilaterals. So if we apply quadrilaterals, we will limit our search to only 4 trademarks. And now we really have narrowed down the list of results to something that we can easily get an overview of and grasp. 4 trademarks is certainly more interesting and easier to go through than the 606 that we started with. So as a small recap of what we did, as you saw, we started our search here with Georgia and EUIPO for the territory of Georgia for the name George. But then we have applied other filters. Instead of using these data types as search criteria, we have applied them as a filter, which, as you saw, makes it very dynamic and easy to use. We used goods and services, we used the Vienna codes, we were looking at the trademark status and the trademark type. And as you can see now, even though we started out with also filed as part of one of our filters, we are actually only down now to having registered trademarks that are in our list of results. Then we can have a look at each trademark in more details. For instance, it could be that, okay, this trademark looks like it is maybe going to be an issue to our idea of a trademark. So we can go in and have a further look at this trademark and other data also available for this trademark. And you can access what we call the details page. Either you can go through the trademark name, or you can click here, the application number. This will take you to the details page where, as I said before, you have more data available. It has been grouped in different sections. As you can see here, we have what we call the trademark section, date, office, etc. And you can navigate directly to these sections by clicking the relevant section that you would like to go to. First, we have, let's say, this is the trademark section. We have here the section with the dates, which include the application date, registration date, expiry date, and also, in other occasions, here the opposition period showing when it was open, the start and end date for filing an opposition. If we go further down, we have the goods and services section. And here, if you're not a native speaker, we have an interesting feature that will be able to translate this list of goods and services for you into one of the other languages that we are covering in the tool. For instance, for this demonstration, let's translate it to English. Now you will see that we are providing translation in different colors. The first one here, red, is translated by Google. And that's because Google kicks in as a service, as it's able to translate word by word. Whereas we are translating in black from TM class because it's translating based on whole concepts. And in order to distinguish the concepts, we separate each concept with a semicolon, as you can see here. And therefore, it is able to retrieve this translation, and it found it in TM class. We will see that also when we move on later on to the TM class demonstration, that it's important if you use TM class as a tool that you distinguish one term or one concept for another with a semicolon. Then you actually have the possibility to compare the translation provided by either TM class and or Google by clicking the hyperlink, and then you can view and compare the translation. So that's access through here. Then there's information about the owner. In this case, it's providing the original language as well as the representative and the Vienna codes. Lastly, what I would like to demonstrate here on this page is that many offices offer the possibility to go to the office of origin. So in this case, we can click this hyperlink, and that will take us to the trademark details in SAC-Patenti. So in SAC-Patenti's online system, so the user can view the data in its original place, so to speak. It can be useful if you're more familiar with the layout from the national office. But the same data is available here as the data that we showed or saw just a moment ago in TMview. So remember, that's in the section of office. Clicking the link, that will open up the trademark details for that specific trademark in the online system of that participating office. Now, if we go back, we then have a possibility also to view the trademarks in a different view. Right now, we are in a view called listed view or list view. So we have very limited data available here in each row for each trademark. But we can also expand the view, either through here by this icon, but also individually for each trademark by clicking the down arrow, which will make available data such as the goods and services, the status, the applicant and expiry date, and also the access to the online system for this trademark directly in SAC-Patenti. So that's very useful without having to opening up the details page. So again, if I click here on this icon, expanded view, it will open up the expanded view for all 4 trademarks in one go. And again, we can translate. It's already available without going to the details page. We can translate just as before the goods and services into English. Lastly, I would like to show you the gallery view. This will basically list the trademarks in a mosaic. So make it easier, especially when you're dealing with trademarks with figurative elements, that you can see them easier next to each other. Going back to the list view, we have another option, and that is to compare trademarks. Right now, it is grayed out, this option, but as soon as I select the checkbox, either for all of them or individually, one by one, we can click this icon that will open up a new page where the 4 trademarks are listed side by side. So the data and the most relevant data is listed side by side in rows, like the office, the status, different dates, the owner, and also, again, the goods and services, which again can be translated, as we can see here, into English or any other language available. So now this was what I wanted to describe just briefly to show you how you can use TMview with different search criteria and then subsequently with filters to see if there is a trademark that is already similar or identical to the trademark idea that you have before you actually file in the office. In this case, we were using SAC-Patenti as the office, but this could also be applied to any other office where you look up the data and apply the certain filters before you actually, let's say, proceed with the actual filing. Do you have any question to this so far?
I see someone's raising her hand.
Yes.
Yes, I have one question, please. When do the filed applications join your database? Immediately, my question concerns both local and international registrations.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Can you repeat?
So you have in items icons filed and registered options. So my question concerns about when trademarks which are filed on a national or international level, when these trademarks appear in your database immediately, or there is some time gap?
Yes, thank you for that question. Well, this depends on each office's regulation. So its trademark regulation will tell us, and we do what we call a data analysis to define if it's legally possible for that participating office to share trademarks in a specific status. There are certain cases where early statuses in what could be grouped under filed, because as you noticed, our trademark status here in the list of result are very broad. So what we are doing is that in analysis, we are mapping many statuses that are considered to be registered or to filed under that status. And then an office in its workflow, it will then say, yes, I cannot share with you the first statuses because this is considered not to be public data. And then they will exclude that and they will not provide it. But as soon as a trademark then moves into another status that they have agreed to share with us, then the system, their system extraction mechanism will send the data to us, to TMview, and it's then incorporated. I don't know if I explained myself well enough on this.
Thank you. Yes, and what about the international registrations? My question concerns whether the new applications are filing your system once they are filed with the local office or once they reach EUIPO, International Bureau of EUIPO.
Here, I try to demonstrate. Here it is EUIPO, let's say, on behalf of SAC Patenti and any other office participating, is the provider of the international registrations. So similarly, we have done an analysis with EUIPO. So they are the one providing the trademarks, in this case, which are designating Georgia. So I cannot remember now by heart which statuses that could be problematic to them and they have excluded. But in principle, an analysis has been done to agree from which moment they can share the data and then send to us.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we proceed, I just want you to notice that there are certain icons here which are not available to you. For instance, here, and this is what we are going to look at now, the save search, also here, alerts, and also tags. These are not available, but they will be made available once the user signs in to the tool. So now I would like to proceed. If there's no more questions, let's proceed to see how you can save a search in TMview. No more questions, so I hope you bear with me. I would like to show at least this one for you because I think it will be very useful. I will try to be brief. TM class, you will see, is very easy, even easier, but I think you have some valuable features available here in TMview. So in order to use the before mentioned functionalities, save a search, create alerts, and create tags, you need to sign in first. And if you haven't registered first or before, then you have to do it for the first time. The advantage of registering is that you can also use the same credentials in other tools such as the TMview. So it's not like you're going to end up having several credentials, several usernames and passwords. You can use the same one for several tools. So that is very useful. I will just sign in order to use these functionalities. So the safe search that I would like to demonstrate first will actually notify you of any changes in the list of results according to the criteria that you have applied. So in this case, we should apply criteria available in the advanced option and not the filters. So now we can imagine that we have actually already now registered our trademark named George. And now we would like to keep an eye out that nobody starts filing for something similar or identical trademark. So we can type in George again. And like before, we should then include for the territory of Georgia. So we open up our advanced search. We go back here to territories where we type in Georgia. And then, just for you to see, we have again SAC Patenti and we have EUIPO as the two offices for the territory of Georgia. we can then continue to the status, because now we are interested in new filings coming in at SAC Patenti in the status filed. So we select only filed in this case. And then we can also apply a search criteria such as this, currently opposable. So that would mean that if I apply this criteria, we would also be able to file an opposition against this trademark because the opposition period would be open. So let's select that one as well. And then we click search. So notice that our icon here from before that was grayed out now has been activated. Now it is, we can actually save our search. So this is as easy as just clicking here on the icon, and then we could give it a name. We could, for instance, say George, for Georgia, our trademark name George, and then we will click save. So as I said before, now from now on, every day the system will then monitor if there's changes to this list of results according to the criteria that we have applied in our search. Again, from the offices of Georgia and EUIPO, so for the territory of Georgia, we are monitoring if there are any trademark names that contain George, either as an exact match or as part of the trademark name, and which are in the status filed, and also which are currently opposable. In the search itself, right now, there are 5 trademarks, but of course, a trademark could end its opposition period. It could be registered and then move on to registered, and then you will be notified that one trademark has disappeared for the list of result, and we would also be informed if there are any new trademarks to the list of result. In this case, now we can access what we have saved of searches up by clicking this bell at the top. Sorry, it was this one here, save search, that I wanted to show you. Here we have the save searches at the top of the menu. Here we have the newly created saved search that will notify of any changes. I have one here from a previous saved search, and to demonstrate to you how it looks like, if we can go here to the bell to view the notifications. And as I said here, you will be informed of if there are less trademarks, but also what has been added according to the search criteria you have applied. You will also receive an email notification. So the email that you have used to sign in or created your account for, you will receive email notifications. You can turn them off, but you will still be notified here in this inbox under the bell icon. Then going back to our saved search, we can access the search again by clicking the hyperlink under the search name. So it can also be used to retrieve a search very easily that you would like to use again and again. So that is very easy to save a search. Now, what about alerts? And what are alerts? Alerts is to be reminded of certain changes. For instance, in this case, we have applied that the trademarks are currently opposable. So we have an opposition period that is open. And we can actually try to view that as well in our list of results if we go to the edit columns. So let's go in here and let's take away the trademark type, the Vienna code, and we can select here opposition deadline. So now our list of results, as you can see here in the right column, indicates a deadline for filing an opposition. Now, you might not be in the position right now to take the decision. So we can create an alert so we are reminded, for instance, a few days before that the trademark or the opposition period ends, that you're reminded of this, and then you could take the decision as to whether to file an opposition against this trademark. For instance, this GF Georgian food. Let's create an alert so we're reminded before the opposition period actually expires. Again, we can use the checkboxes. We can either select one by one if we want to group more than one trademark with the same alert, or you can select above, selecting the whole column, all trademarks. But in this case, I'm just interested in creating an alert for this trademark. And you notice once I select it, that the icon up here with the alert is activated. Once I click it, we have then the different types of alerts that are available. First of all, opposition period close to an ending. That's the one that we are interested in. But before I start applying it, let's have a look at others. Well, we have expiry date is near. In this case, it's grayed out because this trademark is in the status filed. So it is not close to an end. But we also have others such as applicant change. So that's the owner. If the applicant is changed to another, we have changes of the status. We have changes of the goods and services. In this case, it is related to the whole niche class and not a specific good or service, but the whole niche class, if that is changed. We have information about the expiry date change. And here it's not grayed out because it doesn't exist, but the system will also detect once it is created for the first time. And then we have changes to the representative. But as I said, we are interested in the first one, opposition period close to an end. So we simply select the checkbox. And then what we should do is we should indicate how many days before the expiry of the opposition period would we like to be notified. For instance, 5 days, and then we click apply. So now we have created an alert. It has been saved, and like the saved searches, we have them available up here at the top. Here is our newly created alert for GF Georgian Food, and we can see here in the gray box, we have the alert created. If you regret, say 5 days is probably not too much or not enough to be warned ahead of the expiry of the opposition period, we can change it. We can access again and edit the alert, and for instance, type in 10 days, and we modify the alert that way. So that is as simple as such. If we go back to our search, I can show you how to create a tag. It works similarly as the alert. We can again check the checkbox for all of them or one of them. Then we go to the tags. And here, for instance, you can see I have already created some tag names, alcohol company, wine company. In this case, I can see, well, this is a company that is also producing food. So let's call it food company. You click the plus symbol, and then we have added this tag, and we apply it. Likewise, we have the tags created, available in the menu above, and then you have different trademarks available there according to the tags. As you can see here, the newly created food company, we have wine company for some of them, which are tags that I have previously created for other trademarks. And then you have the possibility to filter to specific ones, applying out here in the left margin. So this can be a tool interesting for you if you want to tag a certain trademark and in order to have easy access to it in the future. So do you have any questions to these features?
I don't see any in the chat so far.
No, that's good. I hope it's clear then. Then the last thing I would like to demonstrate, let me see if I can retrieve. I would like to demonstrate how also the national office can actually use TMview as a tool. Because obviously, as you have seen, this is very interesting for users, for attorneys, for individual people, small enterprises to establish here an idea what exists. But the Sachverständige in this case, or other national offices, could also use it, for instance, to verify priority claims. So let's imagine that we have received this application here for this trademark name, Sachgenba. And if we go here to the trademark info, we can see at the bottom, there's a priority claim. Now, please disregard that the dates are already outdated, but it will serve the purpose of this demonstration. So we have a priority claim. It is dated back, and this is important, the priority date, when was the first filing taking place. So we have to verify that our new application is actually filed within the 6 months of the first one. It looks like it, but we have to go and find the details in the original filing, of course. You can see that the country of the first filing is in France. In this case, disregard this. This is precisely the action the examiner has to do. It has to decide, can it be accepted or not? But here is the priority number. So it's based on this filing. Let's copy the number, and then we go to TMview. Now, as an examiner, we want to look up So instead of having to go and find the online system at the French office, we can use TMview as this, let's say, platform that provides you easy access to the details in different offices. So you don't have to know the online systems for every country that you need to check at priority claim for. In this case, we open the advanced options, search options. First, let's select France. In this case, you can see we have 3 offices popping up because there are 3 offices which will provide trademarks with legal effects for the French territory. The first one is, of course, the national registrations or application at France, but also EUIPO with its EUTM covers the French territory. This one is not relevant now for our priority check, so we can delete that. Likewise, with the international national registrations from EUIPO is not relevant, so we can delete it. But we type in here under the application number, we type in our application number, and then we launch our search. And now we have retrieved the French application, which is now a registration, I can see. And now the examiner can actually proceed to check the details. This is the details, then the same data that we saw in the priority claim in Georgia. As we see here, we can now check provided by the French office. We can see the trademark name was the same. We got the same date. We can also enter actually into the details page itself. It's probably better. Checking the dates, we check in the trademark name. We can check the owner. If we go back to the filing at Sacpatenti, of course, your data is provided in Cartuli, but I know from translating in Google that it says the same company and also the address. But of course, this is the job of the examiner to check these details that we are talking about, the same trademark, same goods and services, same owner, etc. And of course, that the filing of the application at Georgia is done within the 6 months of the original filing. Also here, actually, we have the possibility to go to the Office of Origin, in this case, the French online system for searching trademarks. So you can verify the details even further and in, let's say, in the Office of Origin. And if I did not mention it, of course, the goods and services that we are filing the priority claim for the same goods and services. And we can see it is the case for vaccines in both cases. So that ends the presentation that I wanted to show you also how examiners can use TMview as a tool.